What's up, guys? Back with another draft grade. 40-inch Ditka, aka Rex Olds' team, started the draft off hot with Josh Jacobs in the first round. This guy is posed for a breakout in Las Vegas. He is a stud. If he can get more involved in the passing game, he could be a top three fantasy, player this year. So I like that pick. Turning around and grabbing Aaron Jones. He is a guy that's a little bit more inconsistent, but the touchdowns were there last year. They want to run the ball. The question is, will A.J. Dillon take much from him as a form of goal line carries? Aaron Jones has shown that he's capable of doing it. He's shown that he's capable of catching the ball. The question just with him is he had some real bad games last year where they were 0 or very low points. The consistency, will that get better this year? And as your second running back, it's nice to have Josh Jacobs, who has shown, straight consistency all last year to have that to kind of counterbalance. Then you got David Montgomery. In the sixth round, that's not bad considering that, he is a little injured right now. I get it. I know you're a Bears fan. You know a little bit more about that situation. And he could be really, really good this year, and you have him not as your perennial starter, so you have that capability to let him get healthy and then see how it plays out. And then grabbing Kerryon Johnson in the ninth round. He's been injured a lot, but maybe being in a split backfield with DeAndre Swift will help. Now, I don't know what it's going to mean with Adrian Peterson now going to Detroit. You could assume that touchdowns might go down, but his catching prowess should still be there. And he's been electric when he's been healthy. The question is, can he stay healthy? You got Allen Robinson as your number one wide receiver. A lot of people might be like, but you know what? He's been a top 12 wide receiver the last 2 years, and getting him in the third round, maybe a little bit high for where, but, it's where you're wanting him and what you're wanting to do. That's fine, because last year he did have around 170 targets. I doubt he has that many again. It's the most he's ever had in his career, but even if he goes around 140 and they're actually accurate targets. So if you take out a third of Mitchell Trubisky's targets, because he can't throw to anybody, and then you're kind of sitting where you expect him at. The question is, will Mitch start all year? If he does, Allen Robinson will be hindered by that. If he doesn't, Nick Foles, we also don't know what kind of chemistry he has with Allen Robinson. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but I would go with the guy that can be more accurate in Nick Foles than the one that's going to throw it over his head. Cooper Kupp in the fourth round. Cooper Kupp led the NFL in touchdowns last year, and at the end of the season, he just felt like he was a giant letdown. He kind of disappeared, and without the touchdowns there at the end of the season, you wouldn't have been very happy with Cooper at all. The question is that with their little bit of change in the offense, how is that going to relate to Cooper Kupp? He's been an absolute stud since he came into the league, and we'll just have to wait and see. Fourth round is about where he's going, so it's just one of those that has some risk to it, and it could pay off, and he could still be a top 10 wide receiver like he has been in the past. A.J. Green in the fifth round. And now, as far as ADP, that's about where he's been going, probably a little bit higher, but he's one of those guys that now that the season's real close, he's healthy, he could be an absolute steal. He has never not been a top 12 wide receiver when he's been on the field and healthy. The question is, how long can he stay healthy, and will that change with Joe Burrow at the quarterback? He's still a rookie quarterback, so rookie quarterbacks don't throw for over 4,000 yards too often. They don't throw for a ton of touchdowns. So the question is, how's that going to be split up between Tyler Boyd, A.J. Green, John Ross maybe, Joe Mixon catches out of the backfield, Giovanni Bernard will come in there some, and whoever their tight end is these days. I mean, there's a lot of mouths to feed, and Joe Burrow showed that he will pass it to everybody when he was at LSU. Will that maintain as he gets into the pros, or will he say, that's my dude, and A.J. Green's going to be back on top? Either way, as your third wide receiver, it's a heck of a gamble that could pay off. And if he doesn't pay off, it's, not that big of a deal. Anthony Miller is a guy that I actually really do like, but also having Allen Robinson on your team, like you're kind of not giving yourself very much upside capability there. And then N'Keal Harry, all I've heard is that he's slow, but he's big. So red zone wise, he could be valuable, and I just keep remembering this other Cam Newton wide receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, who wasn't very good, but with Cam Newton, he was stellar, and he was very fantasy relevant. So it's time will tell on that one, but getting him in the 15th round, he could be a guy that you actually use. You got Matt Ryan in the 8th and Roethlisberger in the 14th. That's a pretty good tandem. Hopefully Roethlisberger comes back healthy. Matt Ryan is a guy that throws for yardage because they're always losing, and he's got great wide receivers to throw to. So no qualms there. I think 8th round for Matt Ryan's great value. 7th round Evan Ingram's great value. If he can stay healthy, he will light it up. He has nothing but be spectacular when he's been on the field. He has just not been on the field very often. But you grabbed Austin Hooper in the 11th round on that Cleveland offense, and that could be a nice little segue just in case you have the injuries for Ingram. The other thing is that we don't really know how Hooper's going to fit into that offense, and he could end up being valuable in his own right, so every week starter capability. Then you grab the 49ers defense in the 10th round, and then the Bucks in the 16th round, just I'm guessing to see how they play out. They did have a really, really good run defense last year, and they've worked on it a little bit to see if they can get a little bit better in the secondary, but just the assumption that Tom Brady doesn't throw 30 interceptions and their offense is more pace of play and slowed down a little bit, that'll help the Bucks defense do something, but I don't think you'll be playing them hardly at all if you do, because you have the 49ers sack masters over there. Overall, this team has a really strong running back core, really strong wide receiving core too. Overall, this is a much better draft than you had last year. I'd give it a B+. I think that with the running backs that you have 3 guys that could be starters on anybody's team. It's pretty solid. So overall, it's a B+ on this team, and we'll hopefully see you in the playoffs this year.